Welcome back to Boston. Let's take a look at progress so far in the women's pole vault. The bar at 14.3 1/4. This is Jillian Schwartz, who has had quite the odyssey getting here to Boston. Her poles and the weather and everything else. She drove from Detroit to Boston. Told me earlier she was about 85%. Took it pretty good early on at 14.3 1/4 with an easy clearance.
Adrenaline's a wonderful thing, isn't it? It gets you over the hump here and gets you really positive, and fear is a great motivator. This is Lacy Janson, and had a very good week last weekend at Tyson Invitational, getting well up over 15 feet. Here she is at 14.3 1/4.
Both Janson and Schwartz jumping personal best 15.2 3/4 in Fayetteville. In fact, all top three jumped that height. This is April Steiner, who is a school teacher down in the Fayetteville area. Had a tough time, was very busy, did not perform so well, but she is a 15-foot-plus performer indoors. Again, first attempts at 14.3 1/4, and all three over quite easily. So lots of women vaulting. 15 finalists in the women's pole vault. We'll be keeping you in touch with what's going on. Back to update of the women's pole vault. With a bar at 14.9, this is Jen Stuczynski, the only American ever to jump 16 feet outdoors, the third woman in history to do so. She's really been the dominant figure in women's pole vaulting of late.
The only woman ranked among Americans in the top 10 this past year, 2007.
Injured at last summer's World Championships, and a huge clearance and right in the right spot for Stuczynski. Jillian Schwartz, as we mentioned earlier, quite the odyssey getting here, driving from Detroit with another one of the pole vaulters. Her poles arriving separately on another plane. 15.2 3/4 last week in Fayetteville. She won the Milrose Games, and with a little brush there with the arm.
It stays on. For those fans who didn't see our Tyson show, she has said that she is not going to be competing in track and field after this year, no matter the fact she's made the last 6 national teams for the United States, including the Olympics.
Chelsea Johnson, NCAA champion from UCLA. Her dad, Jan Johnson, won a bronze medal in the Olympic pole vault in 1972. And Chelsea, who's a 15-foot performer in college, also over at 14.9. Now to the conclusion of the women's pole vault, the bar at 15.1, and this is Jen Stuczynski. This is sort of an intermediate height for her lately.
It is. Interestingly enough, though, some athletes, when they get to the top like this, Dwight, they say, I'm confident, I know what I can do, and she worries with every jump. She gets nervous ahead of time. She says, I always have to fight myself to control my nerves. So you youngsters out there, you're not alone when you get nervous before a race, but it's satisfying when you come through.
Jillian Schwartz, her third attempt at 15.1. She's been over 15 feet a couple of times this indoor season, but that trip from Detroit, 12 hours in the car, could not have been good preparation for this national championship, especially in her final year of competition. And the bar goes up to 15.5. Jen Stuczynski by herself, as she's getting used to being. Second attempt with the bar at 15.5. Still trying to get that American indoor record. She's jumped 16 feet outdoors, but still does not have the American indoor record. Stacy Dragila, the great Olympic and twice world champion, has that. So that's what she needed to do. She went up to what would be a new American record height of 15.9 3/4. This is her third attempt.
You know, I talked to her earlier. She said, my speed down the runway is better than ever. Even though she doesn't get up there, 15.5 probably makes her feel good. She hasn't been up in that stratosphere much this indoor season. And at 6 feet tall, she says, I'm stronger than I've ever been before. She can bench press like 200 pounds.
So Stuczynski wins it. She will go with Jillian Schwartz to the World Championships to meet Yelena Isinbayeva, who set the world indoor record last week. She's hot once again. So Stuczynski wins it. Schwartz second. Chelsea Johnson third.